Before we begin, let me ask you something. What if there was a city built for 1 million people, with modern buildings, perfect roads, and everything you could ever need? But almost no one lived there. No crowds, no traffic, no life, just silence. This is not a movie. This is real. And today, you're about to discover one of the strangest places on Earth. A city that should have been full of life, but became something else entirely. Stay with me, because the truth behind this city is more surprising than you think. Imagine this: a city so vast, so carefully designed, so perfectly built, that it feels like it belongs in the future. Wide roads stretch endlessly into the distance, perfectly straight, perfectly clean, perfectly empty. Rows of tall buildings rise toward the sky. Glass reflects the sunlight. Concrete stands untouched. Everything looks new. Not just new, but unused, as if the city was built yesterday and then forgotten. There are no people, no cars, no movement, no sound. Only silence. A deep, unnatural silence. The kind of silence that makes your chest feel heavy. The kind that makes you question if something is wrong, if something is missing. And something is life. Because this city was built for millions, but almost no one came. This is the story of one of the largest ghost cities in the world. But unlike cities abandoned by disaster or war or tragedy, this one is different. It was never destroyed. It was never evacuated. It simply never filled. To understand why, we need to go back to a time of rapid growth, back to the early 2000s. At that time, China was expanding faster than ever. Cities were rising, industries were booming, infrastructure was transforming the country. And in the middle of all this growth, one place stood out: Ordos, a region that suddenly became incredibly rich. The reason was simple: coal. Beneath the land, there were massive coal reserves, and during that time, coal was one of the most valuable resources on Earth. It powered factories, it fueled development, it generated enormous wealth. And that wealth changed everything. Money flowed into Ordos, fast, very fast. Businesses grew, investments increased, people became wealthy. Some became extremely wealthy. Entire communities transformed. And with wealth came ambition, big ambition. Leaders didn't just want growth, they wanted transformation. They wanted something iconic, something that would represent success, something that would show the world what they had achieved. And so, they made a bold decision. They would build a brand new city. Not slowly, not over decades, but quickly. All at once, from the ground up. A modern city, a futuristic city, a city designed to impress. The chosen location was, at that time, it was mostly empty land, flat, open, endless. A blank canvas, perfect for something new. Construction began, and it moved fast, very fast. Roads were laid out, buildings rose, infrastructure appeared. Everything was built. Residential areas, office buildings, government centers, schools, hospitals, parks, museums, theaters, everything a city needs. And not just built, but built beautifully. Architects designed modern structures. Urban planners created wide open spaces. The city looked organized, clean, efficient, impressive, and most importantly, ready. The goal was clear. This city would house 1 million people, 1 million lives, 1 million stories. Everything was prepared. Everything was ready. All that was missing was people. At first, no one was worried. People assumed it would take time. Cities don't fill overnight. Population takes time. So they waited. Months passed, then years, but nothing changed. The city remained quiet, empty, still. And slowly, questions began to appear. Why is no one coming? What went wrong? The first reason was the cost. Housing prices were extremely high, too high for ordinary people. These homes were not built for workers. They were bought by investors, wealthy individuals, people who didn't need to live there. They bought properties as assets, not as homes. And because of that, apartments remained empty, lights stayed off, doors stayed closed. Entire buildings looked occupied, but were completely silent. The second reason was jobs. A city cannot survive without opportunity. People need work. They need income. They need purpose. But in this city, there were not enough companies, not enough industries, not enough reasons to stay. Young people avoided it. Families chose other cities. The third reason was speed. The city was built too quickly. In just a few years, everything was completed. But population growth doesn't work that way. You cannot build a community overnight. You cannot force life to appear. And then there was psychology, human behavior. When people visit a place and it feels empty, they feel uncomfortable. They leave. And when many people feel the same way, no one comes back. And that creates a cycle. No people, no attraction, more emptiness. And slowly, the city becomes something else, something strange, something unnatural. A city that looks alive, but feels dead. If you walk through it, you might feel uneasy. You might feel like you don't belong. You might feel like you're the only person left in the world. Wide roads with no cars, tall buildings with no lights, shopping centers with no customers, parks with no children, no laughter, no voices, only wind, just wind, and silence, endless silence. People began calling it a ghost city. At its worst, only about 10 to 20% of the population actually lived there. Tens of thousands of apartments empty. Entire districts quiet for years. A massive city with almost no life. But the story doesn't end here, because slowly things began to change. Policies were introduced, housing prices dropped, incentives were offered. Schools opened, businesses started to grow, and little by little, people began to arrive. Families moved in, students enrolled, workers found jobs. Life started returning. Lights turned on, cars appeared, voices filled the streets. The silence began to fade. Ordos is no longer completely empty, but its past still lingers. It remains one of the most unusual cities on Earth. A reminder that building a city is not just about money, not just about buildings, not just about infrastructure. A city needs people. It needs energy. It needs life. Without those things, even the most beautiful city is just an empty shell. And now let me ask you something. If you had the chance to live in a place like this, a modern city, clean, spacious, peaceful, but almost completely empty, would you stay or would you leave? Think about it, because sometimes the most beautiful places are also the loneliest. And that might be the strangest mystery of all. And now you know. The story of a city that had everything, except the one thing that truly matters: people. Because no matter how modern, no matter how beautiful, no matter how expensive a place is, without people, it means nothing. The story of Ordos is not just about a city. It's a reminder that you can build structures, but you cannot build life overnight. You can design a city, but you cannot force people to stay. And sometimes the most impressive places are also the most empty. Now I want to hear from you. If you had the chance to live in a place like this, a modern city, quiet, clean, but almost completely empty, would you stay or would you leave? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe, because there are many more hidden stories, strange places, and unexplained mysteries waiting to be discovered. See you in the next video.